There we go. Happy Canada Day. See Marty Fit. It's July 1st today here in my fine nation of Canada. How are you, pal?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm excellent. Hey, I thought we would start the show with this, Mr. C. Marty Fit.
Is it really Canada Day?
It is really Canada Day.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, okay. There you go. See, look at that, man. I'm teaching my friend Christopher Martin, aka C. Marty Fit, something this morning.
I had no idea. And I had friends in Canada. I didn't see any of them post it. So
Hey, Future, where are you this morning, man? You're supposed to predict it's Canada Day today, man. You're supposed to tell the world that it's coming up today. You should have let Marty know a couple days ago that it's Canada Day coming up today.
He had a rough weekend.
He did he?
Yeah, he had a rough weekend. Yeah, he sent me a message.
Coming up on today's show on Canada Day here in the nation, the power of being a great leader. We're going to dig into from aging to empowering, tips to stay strong and fit, add years to your life. Maybe talk a little bit of Happy Canada Day stuff. Woke up this morning.
Hey, Keith, that's great, but you didn't mention something, man.
What?
I got the flow out today.
Listen, I was about to call it out, actually. I was about to say something.
Come on, man.
You beat me to it, brother. So hold on. I noticed the flow. I didn't realize it was Flow Mondays with C. Marty Fit today, man. The flow is out.
Flow Monday.
So nation, if you're not watching, today's the day you're going to have to tune in to see Marty's flow, and we're going to have to get a good old short with this one. We're seeing Marty's hair out of the elastic band. Hey, when you buy elastic bands, do you buy like big bags of them when you put them back at the pony or what?
I take them from the hairdresser. I've never bought one in my life.
There was a period of time, man, going through this house, it was a battle for bands. It was like me and Brooks and Lauren. It's like, who has the bands? I was like, Brookie,
that's hilarious.
I need a band for my hair, Brookie. So everybody's fighting for elastic bands in the hair, right? So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I love the flow, man. Good on you for having the flow out of the band today. You let the flow, roll every now and then, or what?
Once every couple weeks. Yeah. Something like that.
There you go. So from aging to empowering, tips to stay strong and fit, and Marty, add years to your life. We're going to talk about that a little bit later today. Plus, of course, accountability check-in, the C. Marty Fit tip, creator spotlights, and so forth. So we're going to get into the polls here in a few moments. I really want to pay more attention, Marty, on the polls. It's a great sense of what's going on across LinkedIn, Business Athlete, Instagram Nation. I'm going to start spending a little more time on that over the coming days and weeks. But Marty, we ran some polls last week. Man, we ran a poll. We didn't run one Monday and Tuesday. We ran a poll on Wednesday, which was, have you integrated AI into your life? We ran one Thursday and we ran one Friday. We'll get those in a few moments. But, buddy, how was your weekend, man? What's going on? How was the weekend? I know you and I did not catch up very much, which is okay. I'm looking forward to today, catching up a lot more. But how was your weekend, pal?
Pretty good. It was, what did I do? I was chilling, man. I went to the Big Three basketball games on Saturday. One of my clients, he does the broadcasting.
Oh, yeah, you said that, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. A lot of them guys are just washed up, man. I was shocked.
Really? Yeah.
Like I thought they would have done like some more preparation, like knowing this tournament is here and knowing the money that they're getting paid. I thought they would have done a little more preparation. But the
response was actually this.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Hey, Marty, so I'm going to be mute on this part. You're going to have to read the screen on this one, man. But you got a friend calling you out here.
Oh, wow. Hey.
She's calling you out, pal.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this, Lauren. If I'm interacting with Canadians weekly and they didn't teach me this, whose fault is that?
Oh,
nope. Whose fault is that?
Oh, Marty, the expert in political turning conversations around. So
I'm pretty good at that.
Lauren calling out Marty this morning with the comment saying, you need to sharpen up on your Canadian facts, Mr. Christopher Martin.
Hey, man.
You'll see her. You'll see her in a couple of weeks, and she can give you the gears. Maybe you guys can arm wrestle for the Canadian Fax Trophy. Or something.
Maybe. I'm great at debates. Like I'm just great at taking the attention off of me and putting it back on the person.
So I suspect that about you.
Great at that.
I do suspect that. Talk about growing up, going through junior high and high school. Were you like part of the debates club, or did you know you were always a debater? And Nation, hold on, Marty, hold on. We're talking about debating, Nation. We're not talking about the master part of it. We're talking about debating this morning. So if you're getting out of bed, listen, we're talking about arguing and conversation. So get your mind out of the gutter, Nation.
No, no, I had to growing up. Like I don't know if it's the DC area, but all the kids just talk trash. Like,
yeah.
Even the kids talk trash to me now. So like growing up, you had to be able to talk trash. So
well, if there's one thing I noticed, well, you're a great linguist. You're great with your words. You're great with your wit. You're great with comebacks. And again, is that just like constantly being raised, with just kind of going back with the brothers back and forth?
It's just growing up, and I'm very strategic with my words. And what's crazy is when I went to college, like I'm hooping with these guys from different areas. They weren't used to that. So
yeah.
You know, I got in a couple of fights. guys were not used to this. So.
You know what? I didn't mind debating growing up. Growing up, I was, people are often, hey, Keith, you should go into politics. You should be a debater. And I guess, growing up and going through my 30s and 40s, the way I debated, I often talk to you now about just myself and the way that I'll communicate now. There was points probably in my 30s and 40s I was probably when I debated. I'm going to leave the D word off the table here, but I probably wasn't the best communicator with the way I maybe brought my points to life. And I've had to learn on being more, on the power of words, man. You can use some great words and throw zingers and just shut somebody up. Hey?
Yeah, you definitely can. Especially like with me being a coach, I've had to learn that. Yeah. You gotta learn how to communicate effectively.
Yes.
And I even got in some arguments after the debate, the Trump Biden debate. I got a couple arguments with friends this past weekend.
Yes.
It got crazy.
It
got crazy.
I was looking at today's show script, and I know it's just you and I here today. We got some topics to go through on today's show. Of course, we got we got how to be a great leader. We're talking aging and empowering. But I also had some time in the show today. I thought to myself, maybe today's a great show with views from the lab from Keith and C. Marty Fit.
Yeah. I keep a lot of views to myself.
So here's what we're going to do, Nation. I'm going to try a little segment here.
Uh-oh.
We're going to go views from the lab with Keith and C. Marty Fit. So just so y'all know, me and C. Marty had a little chitter-chatter after it on Friday after the debate. And now, while we're all not going to get into the politics, I always joke I wear a red shirt and blue underwear, or blue underwear and red shirt. Listen, I'm a business guy. I got a big heart. I'm a big human. You can take for all that for what you want. But Marty, the American debate on Thursday was a catastrophe.
Look, I don't. You got one side lying, walking into traps. You got the other side. He's not even there mentally.
He looked dead.
Like, what are we doing, bro?
What it was, man.
It was a disaster. It was crazy.
And I was talking with my in-laws about this last night when they were over, and we were kind of laughing about it. But you got a couple of old dudes, and the ultimate zinger is actually, oh yeah, well at least I'm still alive and you're dead. What? You know what I mean? Like, that's actually the ultimate zinger. It's like, hey, I'm 80, you're 84, and I can still communicate. So there. What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's crazy. I don't want to get into it too much. We might lose some viewers.
Yeah. It does provide for good fodder and good discussion, right? And it
definitely does. Yeah.
It certainly. But if anything, I think what it does do, Marty, is it probably divides more of your nation. I think, right? Because it's definitely now so obvious of the discrepancies between two leaders, right? It's like, do you want to choose somebody who maybe is not all there, or do you want to choose somebody who's all there who might always not make the most ethical decision?
It's extreme either way you go.
It is,
and you can judge someone for either pick.
Yes,
especially if you my skin color.
Yeah, right.
If you go one of those ways, you're getting judged. Even if it makes sense. Even if you back it up with facts and statistics, you're still getting judged. So
it's
crazy.
Now, we are going to have a fun number of months in front of us as we're watching from the sidelines.
Oh, it's gonna get crazy. I like I said, I can't say everything because it's crazy already. That's yeah.
Well, Nation, we might just continue to add views from the lab with Keith and see Marty Fitz as we get closer to November here, and give you guys some opinions along the way. I know that Marty, when I dropped some shorts on the weekend, and we're certainly getting some people's enjoyment of our McDonald's and Krispy Kreme opinions. We're certainly getting people enjoying our opinions around Fiber One bars. Disguised as the way to get fiber?
Yeah. Let's get a chocolate bar as a source of fiber. Insane.
Oh, insane is right. Nope. Yeah, exactly. We got William Ray joining. What's going on, William? Thanks for jumping in this morning, pal. Good to see you here first thing this morning. It's like people forgot we just need the country to do well. Yeah, it's true, right? It's like you guys live in this awesome country, but y'all forgotten about just which way to go in a certain direction.
What's the goal here? What do we want? Do we want what's best for the country? Because I think people don't care. They just want to be right more than they want what's best for the country.
Isn't that true? Yeah, isn't that we're at a point now in society, right? Which is, no, I want to be right. Yeah. Damn it, I need to be right.
It's insane.
It is insane. Hey, I want to call out Will though, Marty, because we've been, as you know, we got that uncut series on LinkedIn here and just dropping content. And as you know, we had Will in the show a couple weeks ago. He's a goat. He's a beast. He's rocking and rolling. He just finished his boot camp and he's on his journey to build his business. Exactly. And Will was vulnerable on the weekend, Marty. We're just had a couple days, and I'm like, and he just did. Marty, the guy kept showing up. And as you know, and as well as I do, it's the idea is showing up, and I like the fact that Will's not afraid to show up and just keep moving, right? So,
yeah.
But listen, Jimmy, we're gonna go through the polls here quickly, Jimmy, before we get to the accountability check-in. So, Marty, let's jump into last week's couple polls here. So, last week on Wednesday, we dropped have you integrated AI into your life? And we had yes and no. So, yes, daily, 57% of our audience says that they do. 36% said occasionally, and 7%, Marty, said, not yet, not interested. Are you surprised by those numbers?
So
it's called 60 40. Really. 60 said 40. Yes, 40 said kind of. I'm not surprised by it, maybe.
Yeah. It's I think a lot of people were against it. But I think people are starting to accept it now, and it's going to continue to go up. It's going to be more than 60% in a couple months.
I would agree with that. On Thursday, we ran a poll, which was what's the biggest barrier to your weight loss success? We had 4 choices: lack of motivation, poor diet choice, inconsistent exercises, and stress and sleep issues. What do you think were some of the most common choices on that one?
Lack of motivation can be one of the top ones.
Yes.
Can I rant real quick?
Please do.
Okay. Anybody watching who wants to lose weight or have a fitness goal, nobody's motivated to be in the gym, including myself. Like, I'd never feel like working out. I worked out yesterday. I did not feel like going. So I got into it with my client today because her friend is a stay-at-home mom, and she was like, she keeps gaining weight. And I'm like, a stay-at-home mom? I love the stay-at-home moms. Love you all. But come on now. No, you got women working. You got women with side hustles, women with multiple kids, and you're a stay-at-home mom and can't get it together. So lack of motivation is a poor excuse because even the fittest moms are not motivated. So come on now. Come on, moms. I got to hold the moms accountable. Dads, too.
Yeah. We didn't even talk this weekend. Well, I shouldn't say we didn't talk. We went back and forth on text, but we didn't talk about this week's schedule, Marty. But I'll tell you, you just brought up a topic that I want to dig into this week in our schedule, which is this idea of remote work, borderless work. Marty, because you have more freedom, less restrictions, would you and should you be more successful with your weight loss fitness journey.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to go to the restaurant. You can eat at home. You can make sure your meal's prepped. And like, there's an argument to be made, Marty, that if you have full control of your environment, working from home, remote, focused on results, there's no reason to have big back activity.
I'm sorry. I know we got to go on with the show, but I got into it with a client last week because she works from home and she said she's in meetings all day. So she couldn't eat. I said, you couldn't go to the microwave for a minute and heat your food up. Heat up your meal prep that you supposedly cooked in meal prep. Now I know you didn't meal prep. Now I know you lying to me. So you couldn't go to the microwave for 1 minute. You were that busy. Well, I had meetings all day. You couldn't put the meeting, turn the camera off for 1 minute? Come on now. So it's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're remote, if you're hybrid, or if you're in the office full time. Doesn't matter. If you want to get it done, you're going to get it done.
It's true. But I would say to you, if you're working from home, there's no excuse not to have your fridge stocked with the right food. You don't have to make any decisions. You just got to go
They
get
might
your
have
bowl.
too many meetings. They might have too many meetings.
Nope. You know, we had a clip last week. I made it into a short when it was, I can't even get into it. I can't right now.
Oh, you got to tell me.
Oh, it was, yeah.
I'm sure I saw it. What's up, Enzo?
Yes, good to see you, Enzo. How are you, pal? Marty said you had a tough weekend. Love to see you here in the feed, Enzo. I'll tell you, Marty. So Carter joined the team. Old BC joined the team on Thursday. He joined the lab with us. He's going to be working with us. He's going to be hanging out with us in a couple weeks when you're here. I told him he's got to join the show with us. But Enzo, you're a big guy. I'll tell you, man, you're the same age as Carter. I said, Carts, you got to come hang out with Enzo, man. You got to come hang out with the future. I said, if Enzo can hang out with me and see Marty fit and bring the demographic of our age group down, Marty, I said, Carter's only going to help us do that. So, here we go. My legs are dead 2 days later. Enzo, care to elaborate on that? Marty, what was he up to?
He did, I forgot how many kilometers, but he did a bike ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a run and something else too. I forgot what it was exactly. But he sent me a video. I was like, good work.
Hey, Marty, got a question from Will, the tech dad. Hey, nation, if you guys want to grab an awesome YouTube channel with learning tech and learning how to make money with tech and etc., and an awesome host, the guy's got charisma, the guy's well spoken, the guy's got a story, motivating. William, you got to check him out. William, the tech dad. Do you think standing desks actually help? I do. Marty, do you like them? Do you use them?
I don't. I mean, they let's put it like this.
The fit guy. No, I don't.
Yeah, the root of the problem isn't because you aren't standing up at the desk, So if you want to do that in addition to your routine or what you have going on, I'm fine with it. But you can't just get a standing desk and solve the problem.
Yeah, well, this is true. This is true. All right, Jimmy, let's get into this, man. Let's get into this part of the show where Keith and Marty do little. Whoa. We're going to dance. Yep, we're going to move our arms like a couple dads sitting here. I'm the dad, and Marty's the young guy trying to be the dad. All right, I'm going to pull Marty off the vertical board. Going to throw me up there. And we are getting to the part of the show. It's the accountability check-in. Today's show is about leadership. Jimmy, Marty, the best leaders, they don't have all the answers. No. And this was from our good friend, William. He made a post on the weekend about leadership. The best leaders don't have all the answers, nation. Nope. They ask the best questions. They ask the questions that push teams to think deeply. They ask questions that challenge the status quo. They inspire motivation. They ask questions that drive accountability. They lead to breakthroughs. Great leadership, in my experience, and leaders that I have witnessed and been around, they're about empowering exploration. They're about fostering a culture of inquiry. They're about valuing, learning how to speak today is what we're up to. Leadership is about valuing unique insights and ideas. and ultimately sitting back and not having all the answers. I don't know about you, but I don't want to have a leader that has all the answers. If he has all the answers, he might not have time to ask all the right questions. So, what's your take? What makes a great leader? Is it one with all the answers? Or is it one who asks all the curious questions? That's today's accountability check-in. The best leaders, they don't have the answers. Nope, they don't. They ask all the best questions. Marty, as you've gone through your life in sports and athletics and so forth, talk about that for a little bit, about leadership and having all the answers, having all the questions. Your clients are coming to you often, asking you questions. Are you reluctant to say, I don't know, and go find the answer yourself? Or are you one who's always got the answer, Marty Fit?
No, I don't always have the answer, but I can always find the answer, right? Especially when you're dealing with different personalities, and we just talked about communicating effectively. I got to learn how to get to this person. I got to learn what works for them. Some people need the a-hole, see Marty, and some people need a little bit of empathy. But I'm still an a-hole. No, I'm playing. But so never have all the answers, but you can always find the answer. A great leader always going to find the answer.
A great leader does always find the answer. Absolutely. All right, so let's pivot. Producer Jimmy and my good friend Marty, let's pivot to the power of being a great leader. Let's get into today's daily topic, today's daily conversation. So, Marty, think about the most influential leaders you've ever encountered. What made them effective? Let's explore the essential qualities of great leadership. The challenge is the popular myth related to great leaders. Let's talk about leading with purpose, being adaptive. Let's practice radical candor. And then let's take the contrarian view. Charisma. Charismatic leadership is a myth. We both in our time have seen a lot of charismatic leaders that have moved the needle, but underneath that, is there any depth? So let's dig into it. Let's dig into leading with purpose. And Marty, as we go through our conversation, I want to bring it back into fitness, and I want to bring it back into being a business athlete. But let's start it out with leading with purpose. So Marty, great leaders have a clear sense of purpose. You stand behind them, and it's funny, great topic, right? Because we're talking this morning about our two presidential candidates here in the United States, and you said, like, what's the point? Like, you wonder what's the point of the two presidential candidates right now. Do they have a clear sense of purpose? One seems to be trying to stay alive, and one tries to seem to weave truth in between non-truths, but they align their actions and decisions with their core values and mission. Leading with purpose is about purpose-driven leadership. It inspires and motivates teams. And the key takeaway is leading with clear purpose creates alignment, drives organizational success. But Marty, let me throw this to you. Having a clear goal is crucial for success. How do you think leaders in business or in fitness, and how do you apply goal setting and purpose to motivate and inspire teams or your clients? What are your thoughts on that, Marty?
I truly believe that there's never you never win the race. You never win the battle. There's always a next level you can get to, and there's always someone better.
Mm-hmm.
Not to like put anyone down or anything, but there's always someone fitter. There's always someone stronger. There's always someone who could do a faster mile time. So as long as that exists, there's always something you can work towards. And it's not a thing where, I got to this point, we can just stop. There's probably a company doing better, a company making more money, a company with a better product, company with higher ratings. Whatever, if you wanted to relate it to the business side. So there's always more work to do. So you can celebrate a win, of course, and enjoy that moment. But you always got to get back to work.
Do you think when leading with purpose, Marty, that it is as simple as just throwing the target on the table and stepping back with it? Or is it as much ensuring everybody's lined up with that long-term goal and long-term purpose? I know. So let me just back that up. I know when I was starting ICUC and growing ICUC, our purpose, Marty, when we sold that thing, and nation, call it what you want and call me shallow if you want, I don't care. Our purpose right off the bat was to make as much cash as possible. That's it. There was no fluffiness and niceties. It was just,
let's make lots of cash.
like, that was the purpose, man. It was, and we lined up everybody behind that purpose. Every meeting, every discussion, it was, okay, Marty, if we do this, we can put more money in your pocket. Okay, if we can do this, we can put more money in our pocket. Okay, if we can do this, the business can make more revenue and profit. Not a lot of leaders talk about that. I think it's actually a joke because people are like, oh, we don't talk about bringing a profit. No, talk about it and align with that purpose. And if everybody gets it, just run with it. And I'll tell you, Marty, when we were running that business, we were driving high margins, high net, and everybody in the company was lined up with trying to make as much cash as possible. And you know what happened? We all maxed out. We were raining money. We were making money and handing it out. So, lining up with that purpose, the leadership for those first 3 years after we sold it, every single quarter, every single meeting was, okay, pull this lever to make more.
Oh, my bad.
Exactly.
I'm in the story now. I wasn't even
I know
listening.
you are. Yeah.
thinking about that.
Yeah. So, we weren't about any other metric, Marty. And again, some would call it shallow. I don't care. We weren't about any other metric for those 3 years after we sold, because Marty, when we sold, we did an earn out. What that means is when we sold, we got a chunk of money, and then we had to hit our targets over the next 3 years to make the rest of the money. So during those 3 years, it was every single month we were being measured, and it wasn't being measured on anything else but actually how much money was going into our bank account. Simple. And that was our mission. That was our purpose. And I make no bones about it. As a matter of fact, I don't think enough leaders and enough businesses talk about it, frankly.
I respect you for being honest about it too.
Because we all get caught up in talking about the fluff, right, Marty, around the peripherals of, we're trying to change the world. No, you're trying to add a couple zeros to your bank account.
Exactly.
And then
let's be real.
And then once you add the couple zeros to your bank account, then you can go change the world.
Yeah.
Honestly, right? So I found, to me, the power of being a great leader, number one, man, you got to lead with purpose. Whatever that purpose is, Marty, and whether it's trying to make as much bank or trying to, lead your team on a mission, like going to Mars, Elon's sake, but it's getting behind that purpose, right? So, Marty, number two, big leadership is being adaptive. Adaptability, and I'm going to think you as an athlete, and when you're training your clients, especially on the less brunches, more crunches side of things, because you have clients of all types walking through the doors, right? So adaptability is crucial in today's fast-paced, ever-changing environment. Great leaders, flexible, open to change. They encourage innovation, not afraid to pivot when necessary. The key takeaway, Marty, is being adaptive allows leaders to navigate challenge, and seize new opportunities. Let's go to the question over to you. So in fitness, adapting your routine to overcome plateaus is the key. Talk to me about an example of how you adapted as a fitness coach with your clients coming in saying, Marty, I'm plateaued. I'm not making any progress. I'm having some challenges. Or yourself as an athlete. Where did you find in your journey where adaptability was crucial for you to make that pivot, call that audible in football terms, to move forward? Marty.
Okay, so I look at a few things. I look at your cardio. I look at your strength training, your hydration, protein intake, right? I look at so 9 times out of 10, it's one of those that we need to change. So they have to adapt to increasing protein, drinking more water, doing more cardio, or lifting heavier. You got to adapt to it. And it's a mental shift. It's a physical shift, but it's more so a mental shift, right? Because it's going to be uncomfortable at first, and you're going to come up with any excuse not to do it. And it might not be part of your routine. So you definitely have to adapt there. And then you mentioned sports too, and me being a basketball player, I would have coaches sometimes, they'd be mad and comparing this year's teams to last year's team. And it's like, this is a whole different set of guys that you recruited. You wanted to move in a different direction. You recruited guys that were scorers, but you want guys to play defense. These guys have never been defensive guys in their whole life, or vice versa. You want defensive guys to be aggressive scorers. So sometimes you got to adapt to your team when you're the coach or when you're leading the company or, whatever it is. You got to adapt to who you have, who you're leading.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I've often wondered that, Marty, when you brought that comment up about, last year's guys to this year's guys. And, because when we use the word last year to this year, we think of it as a long period of time when in reality, a season just could have ended 8 weeks ago.
Yep.
You got a whole new set of guys, a whole new set of problems. Yet the coach is like, oh, we're changing. You're like, well, hold on a second here. There's different guys from last season to this season. So, that adaptability is important, right? So I will share with you my experience, Marty, and producer Jimmy. We're gonna drop the See Marty Fit tip here in a few moments. Here, we're gonna keep going through our leadership commentary here, Marty. I will tell you that being adaptive for me as a leader during my journey of growing ICUC very much happened as we headed into the pandemic and came through it and came out of it, where I aggressively wasn't afraid to adopt first principles thinking, kind of the Ray Dalio approach. And I know Elon talks about it often, and this idea, Marty, I'm not sure if you're familiar very much with it, but first principles thinking is about taking a problem and all the assumptions we have about the problem and taking all of the ways we've previously thought about solving that problem and dismissing everything and starting from scratch. And it's a fun exercise, actually, because you give yourself and your team permission to ignore everything you've known and everything you've taught and everything you've learned and start from nothing. And when you come at that approach, and this even moves to our next comment about practicing radical candor, being adaptive is a lot of fun because you can go into a meeting with your team or you can go into a situation with your team and say, no, we're blowing it all up. We need to adapt, right? The market's going this way, the market's going that way. And admittedly, Marty, people get scared of that, right? Because people get scared of change. People get scared of not knowing what's happening next. But man, being adaptive allows you to navigate and size new opportunities when nobody's paying attention.
Yep.
Right. I always say to Carter and I say to Piper and even Brookie, Marty, that if you're reacting, you've already lost. Right. Be proactive. Right. And to me, being adaptive is the first step in being proactive. Because if I'm adapting before you, I'm already beating you. Right? If you're thinking, okay, well, I got to get my day started at 5, and I'm thinking I'm hearing Marty talk, I'm listening to Marty's narrative, and I'm thinking about Marty, and I'm competing with Marty. Well, I'm going to adapt and start my day at 4:58. And so there's that competitive sense. There's that, okay, well, I'm going to be proactive so I don't have to react. Right? So I think being adaptive as a leader, and people often hear me say this, Marty, but it's the idea of reading in between the lines. If you've been around the planet as long as I have been, like we know I'm super ancient, you read a lot and then you pause and then you go in between the lines. When you read in between the lines, Marty, that is where you learn as a leader to be adaptive because that's where the truth comes out in between the sentences. Do you follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I love the idea of being adaptive because it sets, I think, leaders apart, which then really segues, Marty, and I'm going to ask you this one. Have you played for a coach? Or if you work with a business leader that practices radical candor? So radical candor, Marty, involves caring personally while challenging directly. I think you've gotten to know me well enough and I've gotten to where I've gotten to know you well enough, and I know your clients have gotten to know you well enough where you give honest, very honest, constructive feedback. And when you do that, and when Nation sees me do that, we foster trust, we encourage growth, and we drive high performance within your teams. So do you ever think about yourself having that radical candor as a trainer when you're coaching your athletes and when you're coaching your clients, or do you just think that that's just who you are? But in reality, you're practicing a very, very high quality leadership trait that I think people often step away from because it takes a level of comfort to be candid with your client or with your employee. Talk about radical candor, Marty.
No, that's both. That's me as a coach and me as a person for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be honest with people if you want them to improve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be degrading or speak in a condescending way to anyone. But sometimes you might have to hurt their feelings for them to improve. And it's part of life. It's part of life. We all need a reality check. And sometimes, everyone doesn't have the skill to be honest with themselves. So they need someone else to do it.
Yes.
And let's be honest. I know this is a little off topic, but let's look at the state of our country here in America. All this sugar coating. Look at the obesity problem.
Mm.
You can't be honest. Like, hey, put the sweets down. Get on the treadmill. How dare you? Huh? What? You can't say that. So when you can't be honest with someone, it's going to lead to certain issues. And yeah, so that's definitely me. And a lot of people don't like my approach. And I'm cool with that. It's okay. But I get results.
Practicing radical candor does drive direct results. And Jimmy, we're gonna wrap up our segment here with our last one, contrarian view, before we move into the See Marty Fit tip. But Marty, our contrarian view about great leaders is the last one. Charismatic leadership is a myth. And what a great, and again, I when I reflect upon our dialogue this morning, the fact that we started it off with the presidential debate and we're continuing this conversation around, charisma. Charismatic leadership, a myth. It can be overrated. It's sometimes detrimental, charisma. That quiet, unassuming leader often, Marty, achieves more sustainable success instead of that charismatic leader who comes in, does his thing, and then, lives the shelf life, then they're off. The quiet, unassuming leader focuses on substance over style, long-term impact over short-term charm. Marty, in your opinion, is effective leadership about charisma? Or is it a combination of consistent, genuine actions blended with charisma that builds trust and drives results? Relate that to fitness and how that consistent effort while laying in the charisma drives those remarkable success for your clients, despite somebody maybe being uncharismatic.
Well, every leader is different. Everybody has their style. And so I don't know if there's if it's a matter of having charisma or not being as charismatic. I think everyone's different, and you have to do what's effective for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think so. From my POV, charisma is as much the way you communicate. Mm-hmm. I think the way that you carry yourself, right? And I would say myself, Marty, as a human, probably I'll be vulnerable with you and Nation right now. Probably relied more on my charisma in my younger years, or my own what I thought was charisma, if I could be perhaps humble about it. Was what I tried to rely on what I thought was my charisma, maybe sometimes more than the substance. And then over time, I've had to learn the substance. And over time, through my own failures and feedbacks, I've had to learn to add substance to add to the charisma, right? So bringing the charisma to the table while also, learning how to be that effective leader, blending them together, and and offering a solution to people that I think works, right? So whether it's being adaptive, whether it's bringing radical candor, whether it's leading with purpose, is putting them all into a blender, and I think you put them together and you come out with a pretty strong leader. So the power of being a great leader, talking here with Keith and See Marty Fit today, and what it takes to be that key leader. So Marty, as we wrap it up here, with our leadership message, anything you take away from great leader? What's the one big attribute that you like to take from a leader you follow?
I think we kind of talked on it earlier. You kind of hit on it, but I think it's just being honest, mm-hmm. and being relatable. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, this kind of goes back to what we talked about last week. A great leader has also been through what you've been through, or what you're going through currently.
Yes.
So now I can relate to it. You can tell a story. You can tell me how to maneuver through this obstacle, or make a transition. Where to change something. So I think those are some great signs of a leader. And then also emotional maturity. I'm going to watch how you react in adversity. How are you going to respond to that?
Yes.
I've had coaches that just like they get mad because we lost, and then they don't speak to the team for like 2 days. And I'm like, what kind of leader is that? Like we can't have that. We're not gonna win like that. And so a lot of, I learned how to be a good leader through watching bad leaders.
Oh,
if that makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah, that does. That's really interesting. Interesting to hear me here. Interesting for me to hear you say that, because you're watching, me go through a situation, and you're observing me as your colleague leader go through the situation, go, okay, I'm going to take this from that, take that from that, and I'm going to adapt that for how you're going to be a leader, is what you're saying to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jim, we're going to come up with the C Marty Fit Tip here in a moment here. Yes, Enzo, we are working on Carter getting on the show. Absolutely. We are going to get him on the show here, ideally later on this week with Robert Coe. And yes, January is over, nation. We're into July, so we're into the second half of the year. But the creator, the athlete, and the AI, the course is there. We're still finishing it up. It's going to be there in the academy. We've got more of that coming up for you guys. But Junior is gone, so we haven't left you, and we have not left you aside. You come back and keep hanging out with myself and C Marty to work on your January goals. And yes, we are working on the merch. Hey, I'll tell you, Enzo, as a bootstrapper, it's about pulling levers and doing a bunch of things at once here. So yes, that's on the come and go as well. But Marty, let's pivot our attention to. Oh, there's that sound effect. There's a sound effect, Jimmy.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is.
All right, let's do it. So today we have the fitness tip, and it is the foundation of great leadership is fitness. Let's talk about it. All right. Do you want to lead with impact? Start by getting fit. Here's why. You'll have more energy. Regular exercise boosts your energy levels, keeping you vibrant and focused even on the toughest days. You'll make better decisions. Exercise enhances cognitive function. A sharp mind means smarter decisions and better strategies. You'll have unshakable resilience. Fitness builds mental toughness. When setbacks hit, and they're going to hit, whether you want them to or not, they're going to be here. When setbacks hit, a fit leader doesn't just endure, they thrive. You'll inspire positive action. Your actions speak louder than words. Prioritizing your health sets a powerful example, inspiring your team to follow suit. Right? So if you're fit, you can probably inspire someone on your team to get fit as well. A lot of companies, a lot of businesses, the leaders, they have team building where they're doing active things and active workouts, and people bond over that and get better. So keep that in mind. The foundation of great leadership and fitness. The foundation of great leadership is fitness. When your body is healthy, you can give your team your best guidance and support. Lead with strength. Lead with fitness. Do you believe there's a link between fitness and being a great leader? Let's talk about it. And that's the fitness tip for today.
Coming to you guys here live, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and C Marty Fit.
Yes, sir.
We are moving to the last segment of the show. What a great conversation this morning, Marty, talking leadership and talking about the weekend. And it is Canada Day here today, and obviously July 4th coming up this week. But Marty, the last segment of the show here today is all about aging to empowering, tips to stay strong and fit. And Marty, I want to take the last, 12 minutes of the show, and I want to take our audience and nation around this idea of aging from, and Enzo, we're looking at you, pal. We want to go from ages 15 to 30, and we want to talk about how to age, Marty, be strong from 15 to 30 all the way up to 60 plus, right? So let's take our listenership on what we should be thinking about, what you should be doing, what you should be achieving as you're going through ages 15 all the way to 60. So imagine, Marty, unlocking your body's potential at any age, whether you're just starting out or looking to maintain strength, the right training, and you talk about this all the time with your clients and people knocking on your door, the right training can transform your life. Let's explore how somebody like Enzo, Carter, in their, 17. So our audience, Marty, we talk about it all the time, nation. Our audience is 25 to 54. We got a good chunk of you sitting in that 18 to 25 bracket. So right now, let's explore how you can age with Keith and C Marty Fit from your teens to your late 20s. You're in the prime time for building size and strength. The recovery, Marty, is quick.
Yes.
Where the hell did the light go? Injuries are easier to bounce back from. You can focus on building basic mass and strength. This is the best time for guys like Enzo, guys like Carter to push their limits. Marty, start early for the biggest gains in athletic peak. Talk about how important it is for young folks to start their strength training early, and what advice would you give to Enzo, to Carter, and to the young guys tuning in right now who's just beginning their fitness journey? Marty.
Yeah, no, you definitely should get started while you're young. It's going to build that discipline. It's going to build the habit. So if you're more than likely, if you start young, when you get my age and when you get Keith's age, it's going to be part of your routine, right? Mm-hmm. It's harder to start, and I deal with this all the time, men and women. When you're 40 and you've been neglecting your health and fitness for years, it's harder to get started. You're going to be sore, and Keith just mentioned you're not going to be able to bounce back quickly. That first workout, putting your body through something like that, it's easy to just quit. I have so many people, they show up one time and they're sore, they never come back. So you definitely want to build that foundation early, and it's easier to maintain. Me being 31, I'm not old, but I'm not super young. I don't do all the stuff I was doing when I was 20 and 24. I'm not doing all of that at 31. I got more responsibilities now and less time in the gym. But I can maintain my physique, going in there for 45, 50 minutes because I started young and I set my foundation young. So, everything Keith mentioned is absolutely right. Start young. Take
Marty,
advantage of it.
Is that key point on starting young as much about just starting a routine more than anything? Just this idea of saying, okay, I'm going to go lift some weight today, or okay, I'm going for a run today, or okay, I'm doing push-ups. But just this idea of 15, 16, 17, doing something today. And that's the most important goal. Would you say that that's the most important takeaway from that, Marty?
It's probably a tie between that and actually you can get quicker results when you're younger.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what I had to do my physique now to get that at 24 was easy. But it's way harder to keep it now.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, continuing then. Ages 30 to 40. In your 30s, Marty, and you're this right now, man, you can still see good response to strength training, but as you get closer to 40, and you got friends and buddies and clients that are closer to 40, the gains slow down. Muscle building is still possible.
No, it's still possible. I'm playing. It's still possible.
The peak strength often occurs in the late 30s to early 40s. The key takeaway, though, in this age group, 30 to 40, is your consistency and injury avoidance becomes more important. You get hurt, you get injured, you're being taken away for a while. Marty, what strategies can somebody use between the ages of 30 and 40 to stay motivated and continue making progress?
Have a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Have a routine, and avoiding injuries, that's real. And I find myself now, I'll cut my workout short. Say I'm short on time, I'll cut my lift session short just to stretch for 10 or 15 minutes. And you got to warm up too, especially if you live in a cold area. If you're in Canada, don't just walk in the gym and get straight to work. You got to do some type of warm up. You got to warm your body up, and it's easy to get hurt. Some of the most active people get injuries. So
yes,
really take care of yourself.
We got Enzo joining us here in the future. Enzo knows about the future. Injuries also have a mental toll on the younger guys. When you want to be out on the pitch or the court, but you can't constantly. It's tough, and I guess it really is, right? Because your buddies are out there, and you're sitting there on the sidelines. Eh, Marty?
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. I used to get crushed when I would get an injury, and then my coach, if you got injured, he just thought you were soft. He'd be like, "Yeah, put you on the bench."
There you go.
Got coaches like bad leader, but anyway, when I was going to say, when people get my age and Keith's age, they happy when they get hurt because now you don't have to see the personal trainer. They're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay home today. I'm not coming in." We all know people like that, Keith.
We all know people like that, exactly. All right, so when you become ancient between the ages of 40 and 60, you can expect lower growth rates, but you can expect still decent gains. If you start late, nation, you can still make significant progress. You got to shift to probably higher volume, lighter sessions to avoid injuries. Focus on sustainable training, like Marty said. Focus on getting to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, not just celebrate once. Oh yeah, I showed up once this week. No, you haven't done anything, right? Be consistent.
Nope.
Exactly. So if you're considering starting in your 40s, their first goal is to be consistent. Start showing up every single. Just get your foot into the gym, and then let the magic happen. But Marty, what advice would you give somebody in their 40s to 60s to ensure they continue to see gains while minimizing the risk of injury?
I would say nutrition is the key.
Mm.
And it's crazy how everyone, especially my 40 and up, hey, how are your eating habits? Well, I don't eat that bad. It's not that everybody doesn't eat that bad, but then you tell me about the sugar and the diabetes and all this other stuff. I thought you didn't eat that bad. So how you got all these issues if you don't eat that bad?
What is I don't eat that bad?
Exactly. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It's crazy, man. I love being a trainer, but some of the stuff I have to dig into and figure out is ridiculous. But yeah, I would say, and then when you start to eat better, your energy levels are going to go up. You're not going to feel as sluggish, so it's going to be easier to wake up in the morning. It's going to be easier to get in the gym. It's going to be easier for your post-workout recovery.
Yes.
You're not going to be as sore. So nutrition is probably the key for that age.
Yes. Coming up in a future show with Keith and C. Marty Fit, I didn't eat that bad. But what does it mean?
let's talk about it, because I can give you some examples of what that meant. And you do eat that bad.
And you do eat that bad.
You do eat that bad. It's really bad, actually.
All right, the last part 4 of how to age properly and get strong and empower yourself to keep going. Marty, and I'm heading in this direction right now. So in your 60s and beyond, your response is slow, but training is still crucial for quality of life. Look no further than our hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? The guy still lifts in the gym. It's funny, somebody asked him a question, you still lift? His response, well, yeah, I still breathe. And they said, well, what do you mean you still breathe? He goes, well, no, lifting is like breathing to me. I get up, I go to the gym, I lift weight. He goes, that's just what I do. So, and I'm the same way. Somebody asked me a question, Marty, when I was going through I won this award a number of years ago, top 40 under 40 here in this country. And the question was, what are you going to be doing when you're 80? My response, I'll be in the gym. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah. Because that's just what I'm going to do. That's just what I do. Pick heavy things up and put them down. So, but Marty, when you're in your 60s, training shifts from gaining muscle to sustaining a healthy lifestyle, to being able to take our grandchildren up the mountain and going tobogganing, right? And I'm going to suggest, Marty, that as we get into our 60s, prioritizing longevity and maintaining independence is as important. Marty, less brunches, more crunches customers that come knock on your door. I'm going to suspect you have some ladies in their 50s, maybe early 60s. What are they talking about weight training, how it can contribute to their better quality of life and longevity in this age group?
Probably the top 2 things are probably playing with the grandkids and menopause for the ladies, at least.
Yes.
Yeah. And for the guys, it's I'd say playing with the grandkids and probably their appearance too.
Interesting. Yes, their aesthetic appearance, right? Confidence.
Yep, exactly. So those are probably the top 2 for the different genders.
Well, I'm glad you brought them up, Marty, because we don't talk about them enough. And perhaps, again, it's something we ought to talk more about in the lab, right? Which is women going through menopause and those challenges that they're faced, and people don't want to talk about it, but it's like, no, it's real. And there's things that are happening when it's real, so let's talk about it. Or men that are like, well, no, I don't like that I'm 60 years old and I got a big gut. Okay, let's help you lose it. Oh, I don't want to take my shirt off. Well, let's help you be confident so you can take your shirt off. And then let's not get caught up in the social norms of, well, no, why is he being so worried about his aesthetics? Maybe it makes him feel better.
Yeah.
Let's not judge him.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to have the conversation about the aesthetics and what it does to your mind. It's very discouraging to look in the mirror every day and not like what you see. And
yes.
Especially for my guys. We're talking about guys that were at one point 40-inch verticals, super athletic,
yes,
sprinting down the court, and it's like, this is you now?
Yes.
I had a former basketball player not too long ago. He just overcame colon cancer, but it's like you were an elite athlete, back in the day. So, it's sad to see, but it destroys a lot of guys and their mental, believe it or not.
I'm sure it does. So as we wrap this part of the show up, Marty, no matter your age, your strength training, no matter your age, strength training offers incredible benefits. Early training maximizes your growth while later training focuses on sustainability. Whether you're 15, whether you're 17, Marty.
One more thing too. Listen, my 10K steps a day, people, I love y'all. And I'm happy you're getting 10, 15K steps a day. But you got to do some strength training. So I'm glad you said that. Like, it's the foundation. You have to do it. Still do your 10K steps, 15K steps, whatever it is. But you got to get your strength training in.
Yes. If there's one thing that Keith and C, Marty Fit, obviously we agree on many things here, else we wouldn't be working together. But there's one thing we strongly agree on. You need that strength. If you want to grow and have a wonderful life, you got to be strong. You bust your hip, you're dying. See ya. Sorry, I'm just going to call it out.
Yeah, 10K steps isn't stopping that from happening.
No. So do your squats, do your hip lifts, go do your 10K steps, then you won't break your hip. And then you're not going to die. Then you're going to walk up the mountain with your kids. And I'm calling it out, man. I'm going to be frank and blunt, just like Marty is, right? So do your 10K steps, but do your squats too. Do your kettlebell swings too. Do your hip lifts too. Build those strong hips, because if you bust your hip, you're going to die, nation. I'm just telling you, you're going to die.
Yep.
Sorry.
Agreed.
It's before 8 o'clock in the morning. It's truth. You're waking up. You don't want to hear truth, then just change the station, because we're not going to we're not going to not bring truth here to the lab. So Marty, we're going to wrap it up. Early training maximizes that growth. So whether you're Enzo at 17, Carter at 17, get in the gym, create those routines, and just get started. And you listen, we have all the grace for you. If you're looking to get started, come knock on our door, man. We are doing this show on purpose to help you guys get started. We're going to be here next week, next month, next year. So if you want an accountability partner, come hang out with us. We'll help you get started. We absolutely will. Exactly. Be strong. Be freaking strong, nation. Jimmy, we're wrapping up. Marty, we're wrapping up. I think that, we banged a hard one there. If you want to age gracefully between the ages of 15 and 60, go lift some weights and get your 10K steps in. But notice what I said first. Go lift your weights.
Yep. Absolutely.
Marty, great show, man. I enjoyed the conversation today, pal.
Yeah, that was a good conversation, man. We went from politics to strength training.
We did, but it was great because we started with leadership. Our key topic today was what makes a great leader. And I got to be honest, I didn't think we were going to start with politics, but now we come think about it, it makes a lot of sense, right? When you reflect upon it, we started the dialogue about what happened on Thursday, and regardless of regardless, nation, if you're listening in the United States, where you're pivoting, what makes a great leader? What are you going to choose when you make your vote in November? Right? And ask yourself, is that radical candor, or is it the adaptability? Listen, Trump showed great adaptability on stage at the debate. Whether you love him or hate him, the guy actually was quiet. He wasn't being a nuisance during the debate. Right? So there was an example of adaptability. People are like, oh, the guy was actually quiet the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? Because that wasn't the guy that debated 4 years ago.
And he could have made so many more jokes.
Exactly.
He could have made so many more jokes.
Yes. So regardless if you love him or hate him, the guy practiced being adaptive. And many would say nobody was talking about him when the election was, when that debate was done. Everybody was talking about the other guy. So
we need an uncut show.
We do need an uncut show.
That would be hilarious.
All right, we're gonna wrap up and say goodbye. Enzo, coming back to you with a couple comments here. Let's just do Enzo quick before we wrap up. He said, when I did my tibia, I couldn't physically go watch my team's games. It was tough. I'm sure it's tough mentally. We don't talk about that enough. Enzo talks, I didn't eat that bad. They got a wrap from McDonald's, a Diet Coke, and grabbed a chocolate sundae for a reward for staying away from the burgers, fries, and sugar drinks. Yes. Yeah. I love how the choices happen when you go to McDonald's, right? I'm going to choose that because that validates it's not as bad as that.
Oh, my God. Small fry instead of a large fry. I only had one.
Oh, Enzo, it was another great show, man. Yes, we'll see you tomorrow. I really appreciate your support for joining in. We love it. Marty, great conversation, pal. I will come. We're going to come hang out a little later together as well. And you guys, love you guys all joining in. Will, thanks for tuning in today. And everybody that tuned in today. Natalia, great show. Thanks for joining in as well. I appreciate that. Everybody who joined in today. Lauren, the whole gang. Sarvina, thanks for not joining in today.
Yeah, like what the heck is that, Sarvina? What are we doing?
You know
What is that?
The thing is, she doesn't know. So we'll cut this up in a clip. We'll put it out as a short, and she's gonna be like, "Oh, I didn't show up today." No, you didn't, Sarvina. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you better be here.
All right, Marty. We'll see you later, pal.
All right, I see you.
See you guys. See you, nation. Let's get out of here. Boom, 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 boom.